there are 3 things that you need to be an artist, and being able to draw good is the last thing on the list. Like I heard somebody say one time, like once you realize what the style is, or once you catch on to whatever the trend is, it's already on its way out. Yeah, art should be fun. I mean, for some of us, it is a job, like it is a career, but it shouldn't stress you out to the point where you're like, oh man, like you're forcing yourself to do a piece.
If you watched my previous video, you would know who this artist is. But if not, here's a quick introduction. This is Chris Clark. He is a self-taught full-time artist in Jacksonville, Florida. And if you're from the area or even from afar, you might recognize his work. In my previous video, I interviewed 2 artists about the idea of finding an art style. And today I will be sharing with you the full interview. Also, I do want to mention that I am aiming to improve my interviewing skills, and I am so happy that these 2 artists allowed me to capture their thoughts. And with that being said, there are some parts where my speaking is a little cringy, but I do believe that you will be able to take away some valuable info from this full video. Thank you so much for tuning in, and without further ado, here it is. I've been, I guess, on a journey of trying to figure out my own style. I'm kind of stuck within like what I do like and what I enjoy doing versus what other people like to see.
Yeah.
So I just thought that was very interesting because like young artists, especially ones that are in school, I feel like we're all trying to figure out what makes us unique.
Yeah.
And a lot of it, I guess, we kind of look at the world around us and try to see what they like and try to make our own style from that.
Yeah, try to make a version of that.
Yeah. So how would you describe your own art style, if you could?
I don't really think I have a style. Other people say that I have a style and they can see it. I'm starting to see it a lot more. Well, I don't know if I would put like a name to it. I have like certain themes or like stories that I like to tell. I don't know if that could be considered a style. I think I have many styles. I think that's my style.
Yeah.
Like being able to do many things well, whereas certain artists, they may only like excel in one area. Like I think I'm able to do a bunch of things, you know. So I'll go from like painting to illustration, using all different types of mediums. So I think my style, I would call it experimental.
Experimental?
Yeah,
Okay.
since I like to experiment with different mediums and just all sorts of different things, technology, all the things, yeah.
And I feel like that's important too, because if you do categorize yourself in a style, it's kind of like you're limiting yourself in a way.
And I never want to be in a box. Like you have some artists, their work looks the same like their whole lifetime, so I like to bounce around. I think that would make for a greater like story in the end, like a life story. Or kind of like, so one of my favorite artists, and I hope that wasn't a question.
Oh, no.
No, one of my favorites is Picasso. I mean, you can see how he switched up from like traditional realism to blue period, pink period, cubism, and everywhere in between, minimalism.
Right.
So.
And I was actually just studying him last semester. Like, is he an artist in Paris? I'm trying to make sure it's the correct one. He was like a Parisian artist.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we was taking a course about Paris arts, and what I also found was that they didn't necessarily say they were this or that. It's like the people in the like that later came described them as a certain
they
artist.
just did it.
Yeah, they just did it. So if you could like has anyone told you about similarities in your work, like that they spotted out or
like to other artists?
Yeah.
I've heard Basquiat. I think all black artists, especially black male artists, you're gonna hear Basquiat at some point in your career.
Oh yeah, I know.
But I don't know. I think that's probably about it for me.
Okay.
I try to distinguish myself, and it's not like I'm trying like hard to just be different. I'm just like I just do me, and I think that makes it different and unique, and like people can see it. Like it's noticeable.
Do you think finding I hate using the word style. I feel like I'm just
A
going to use it a lot.
style
What's
or
another
like
way to say that?
voice.
Voice. There we go. Do you think finding your voice is an active process or is something that just comes naturally to you or just to anyone?
I think it's both. I think sometimes you have it and you don't know you have it. I watched this guy. His name is Paul Klein. He has a YouTube channel. He passed away a few years ago, but he has this one video called "How to Be an Artist," and he says that there are three things that you need to be an artist, and being able to draw good is the last thing on the list. The first thing is to distinguish yourself. And then he talks about like how to do that. And he's like, basically like find that thing about you that makes you you, and then build upon that. And so like for me, like I was like what makes me me? And so like how we talked about the dreadlocks and how I grew up with dreadlocks, and I was like, well, that's one thing that kind of makes me me, that I'm known for. Like people who've known me my whole life, like I've always had this hair. It's something that I can talk about passionately, something that I love. Like my whole family has them, all my kids, my wife has them. And so I'm going to make art about that. And so that's kind of how I guess, found my style or my voice.
Yeah.
But then also like loving to experiment and try different mediums and stuff. So I've kind of, I guess, built a voice or like a signature out of that.
How has the experimenting like helped you? Because you do a lot of mediums. Does it
Yeah.
sometimes feel overwhelming with the choices that you have?
I think I get bored easy. So like there are times when I'm painting, I'm just painting like the whole time, and then I'll get bored. And so like when I'm bored with painting, then I move to ink, start doing my illustrations. But I think for me, I want my art practice to be more like an adventure. Like I don't want it just to feel like a job. Like all right, I'm coming to clock in to paint today. So I want it to be like adventurous, and like when I think about movies like Indiana Jones or like all these adventure movies, like they're always discovering something new, like some new tribe of people or some new landscape. So I try to do that in my art too, and I do that by exploring different mediums.
Okay.
So it's kind of it's more fun to me, like to see like what can I do with this,
Right.
like how can I push this, or like so like my narrative stays the same. So I guess that's my voice. So it doesn't matter what medium I'm using, like you're still going to be able to tell that it's me.
Right.
And so I think that's the like that's kind of like the challenge. So I want to see like how I'm able to do that and like keep that same message shining through in different mediums.
Right. You caught me on when you said experimenting and just not staying within a box. Like with your commercial projects, I know you did the most recent one of Kamala.
Oh yeah.
Did you ever feel like you had to stay within a certain restriction of your voice with that?
So with certain projects, so I prefer, like especially when I'm doing murals, I prefer to do my own thing. So with this particular project and the one I did before it, it had absolutely nothing to do with my voice. So the mural was designed by another artist, and so I just painted it. And so it was kind of easy. I didn't have to, put a lot of brain power into it. I just painted what they already had designed. So
wow, and they contacted you.
Yeah, so there's a few companies. This one is called ICU Art. There's another one called Colossal. There's another one I can't remember the name, but they specialize in doing advertising murals. So basically like billboards, but they have artists painting them.
Oh wow!
Like for different brands, corporations. The one we did before this was for Peacock Network for a television show they had coming out. So
okay, cool. And I know this one was removable. There's a lot of stuff like.
Yeah, that went crazy.
I saw it on your page and I was like, oh wait, I did not even know that was there. So that's cool because that's in Georgia, right?
Yeah, it's in Atlanta. Yeah.
Okay, Atlanta. That's cool. So I wonder, like, for the murals, why did they make it removed? Like,
So with this company, so it's basically an advertising company, just like billboards. Like billboards don't stay up permanently; like they change often. So this is the same thing, except it's paint. And so on that same wall, before we put that one up a few months prior, we had the other one I was telling you about on that same wall.
Oh, okay.
And so they stay up for a little while and they come down and something new.
I kind of like that though because like it lets artists do like I do graphic design. I don't know if you know that or not, but with the graphic design, it feels more mechanical, and then you can just print it out and put the billboard on there versus actually having somebody go and make the billboard.
Mix of both worlds.
Right, and you give artists opportunities too because not every artist wants to be a graphic designer.
Yeah, and not every artist who does murals wants to come up with the idea for the mural. So.
Yes. What do you think is most important when developing your voice?
Okay, that's an easy one. Probably the most important thing to me would be honesty. Like just staying true to who you are and true to yourself, and just like blocking out everything you see on social media or like everything with the art world will tell you like this is art and that's not art, or this is good art, this is not good art. Or like you said, not falling in the trap of doing what you think people want to see, and just doing what you want to see. Like a lot of artists hold back, and they're like, "Oh, nobody's gonna like this thing, like this idea I have, but everybody likes this particular style, so let me do my version of that." But like I heard somebody say one time, like once you realize what the style is, or once you catch on to whatever the trend is, it's already on its way out.
Right.
And so, like, I've never tried to follow trends. Like, I always just do my own thing. And I think that helps you have, like, a lasting legacy in art and helps keep you relevant. Because, like, when that trend dies away, now you're waiting around to see what the next trend will be, rather than just being able to just create freely and, like, just come up with stuff on your own. I don't think there's anything wrong with being, like, inspired or influence creatively, as long as you can take that and make it your own and you're not doing like the exact same thing. Like a lot of artists fall in the trap of doing exactly what they see, and like I want people, when they see my work, I want them to think of my name first. So if somebody sees your work and they be like Basquiat or Picasso, like then you're doing it wrong. Like,
how do you seek inspiration when sometimes you're in like a slump? Let's just say you are in burnout or you just have an art block. How do you get inspiration?
So before I answer that, don't let me forget, I want to talk about burnout and artist block. So I was watching a documentary. Not a documentary. It was like an artist interview. I can't remember which artist it was, but they brought up artist block, and they said that artist block is not real. And so what we think of as artist block is just that we've grown bored with what it is we're doing, and we need to try something new. Which is why I'm always trying something new, because I have experienced painting, and then I get bored with painting, and then I'm like, oh man, I have artist block, or I'm burnt out. But it's really I'm just tired of painting in this same style over and over and over.
Right.
So for me, I would say I don't really get artist block, because when I get that feeling, I'll just try something else. I'll just go to a different medium.
Have you experienced burnout? I don't know if that's considered the same.
I think they're different. I think burnout probably is just like overworking yourself, and I do that a lot. So yeah, I experience burnout a lot, just constantly overfilling my plate with projects and telling everybody yes. So that's like a big thing for me this year, like learning to say no to some things. And so I guess if I'm lacking inspiration, one of the things for me is books. So I read a lot. I buy a lot of art books and catalogs. I'll go to museums or gallery shows. I watch a lot of stuff on YouTube, different lectures and art documentaries, art movies. And then just like real life. So like going out in nature, I like to hike, and like we go out and go on trails and stuff. Just like everyday life, being around people, just being in the moment brings inspiration.
Right. I love that.
Instead of just sitting in your studio, like artists think that you just sit in the studio and paint all day, but there's no inspiration in here. Like you got to get out into the world. You got to read. Like I watch the news, and just pay attention to what's going on in the world, other cultures and other people. Like all of that adds fuel to your creativity.
Right. And I think like stepping back from your work is important too. Like,
Oh yeah.
even if you say you have art block or whatnot,
Yeah.
I see it as something that you just got to step back from just so you can like reconnect with it in the future. It's kind of like, you know, when you have a friend and they're always around you.
Yeah.
And
I just need a little break,
yeah, you just need a little break
myself.
from them. And then you'll love them even more when you come back. Because sometimes you just get too close to the art, to the pieces,
Yeah,
like
you
physically.
Have to take a break from the art sometimes.
Yeah. Okay.
It'll drive you crazy.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Like literally last year, not this year because it's new, but last year, oh my gosh, I can't speak English. I've just been like doing random stuff. I haven't really been trying to do finalized pieces.
Yeah.
So I definitely relate to that. Because it's just, I don't know. Sometimes when I feel like I have to do a final piece, it feels too like daunting. Like it just feels like a lot that I have to do to get there, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, art should be fun. I mean, for some of us, it is a job, like it is a career, but it shouldn't stress you out to the point where you're like, oh man, like you're forcing yourself to do a piece.
Right.
If you got to force yourself to do it, it's not going to come out the way you like it. Like it should just flow. So.
I think we're supposed to go back to one of the questions that you got stopped on. I don't know which one that was.
It was about... Dang, what was it? It was something about style.
How important is having a consistent style in the art world? Was that?
That was it.
It was. Okay.
That was it.
I'm going to just repeat it for my
okay.
phone. How important do you think finding a consistent art style is to your career?
Yeah, see, I'm stuck again. That was definitely it. I mean, I think it's important in the fact that it will help you to distinguish yourself from other artists. So, you know, finding a consistent style, like it'll make you it makes you noticeable. I always see these artists. So also the guy Paul Klein, he had in that same video How to Be an Artist, he talked about how oftentimes we'll see artists who make it, you know, they blow up and get famous and stuff, and we're looking at their work like, what is this? Like, a kid can do that. Like, there's always something quirky, and then it's the artist who can draw you with a crayon and make you look like you're looking at your reflection. Like, they're like the super realistic artists, and like they can barely sell art. And he's like, the reason that is because everybody can do that. Like, anybody can go to school and learn how to paint a portrait, learn how to paint a landscape. But that unique thing about you, like you're the only person who has that. Like, and nobody can learn how to do what I do. They can try to copy it, which some people do.
Oh, I've seen them
but
on the post, yeah.
But you know where they got the inspiration from, because like there was nothing before I started doing it. So I guess in that sense, you know, building a consistent style, you know, it helps distinguish you from the millions of artists out here in the world. So like I always think, like I tell young artists sometimes, especially when they express wanting to be full-time artists, I think a lot of people don't know what it really entails to be a full-time artist. They just like the sound of it. Like, it sounds good. It sounds glamorous. Like, oh, I'm going to just sit in the studio and paint, and I'm going to sell paintings and prints and have my work in museums, but it's not that easy. But one of the things that can help you get there is being distinguishable. And like, there's so many artists in the world. Like, we can just think about Jacksonville. There's so many artists here in Jacksonville. Like, why should somebody want to buy your art and put it in on their wall in their home? Like, why should somebody want to include you in the art show? And so these are questions that I even ask myself. And so I try to answer those questions in the work. And try to put myself in their position. Like, I don't want to get something that I can get anywhere that everybody is doing. So like, let me try to create something that's unique to me and special to me that you can't get anywhere else. And that makes it more valuable, more rare. Like,
Right.
And like that exclusivity, that's what people want the most. Like I want to be able to say I have something that everybody doesn't have. Like certain handbags and stuff, like they're like super expensive. Only a few people have them. And, you get bragging rights with that.
Yes, that's
Like
crazy
not
too.
not everybody has a Basquiat in their home. Like those things are like millions of dollars. So
Do you think like when it comes to selling your own work, your personality helps? Because I know for me, at least, again, I used to be very shy and I did not like talking about my art.
yeah,
But
I'm
if
the
you're
same
able
way.
to, yeah, if you're able to connect with, I guess, the buyer, which I'm
Yeah.
probably going to be answering my own question anyways. Do you think like a personality really helps a piece to sell? Like,
Yeah, I think it does. There are a lot of people who are very like charismatic. They're very outgoing. They're good at talking to people and getting people to like them. I think they can sell work like better than the rest of us.
mm-hmm.
And those are usually the people who are selling work that we might look at and think, that's not all that great. Like I can do that. But it's their personality. I mean, it's the same with music. Like we hear rap songs sometimes. It's like what are they even talking about? But it's like their whole energy and their vibe.
Yeah.
So that definitely is a factor. But for people like us who are, more introverted, like I try to talk more through my art. I know that sounds cliche. Everybody says that. Like I don't want to talk. I want the art to do the talking. But
Right. I mean, you literally do, though.
oh yeah. But I mean, like with so one thing that's helped me in selling is social media.
Mm-hmm.
So I can kind of like be who I want to be there, and it's not like a fake thing. Like I'm the same way in real life as I am on social media, but I'm able to share like who I am, like my story. So like I had an established artist actually. I'm not gonna say I'll tell you the name off video.
Okay.
But like world renowned artists tell me that I needed to clean up my social media. And they were like, you have too many family pictures on there and pictures of this. Like it just should be your art. So when curators go to your page, and I was like, well, like having those pictures of my family, that's what sells most of my art. Mm-hmm. Like I can't tell you the amount of people that comment and be like, oh, I like your art, it's amazing, but I really love the way you draw with your kids, and like you're doing this and you're doing that. And so just being like real, like just showing like who I am and the things that I like I'll even post like, oh, here's a new book that I just got. Like that makes you relatable to people.
Right.
Like I don't want to just look like an art making robot. That's what I told them. I was like, I don't want you to go to my page and it's just art. Like, because like even when I go to artist page and I see that, like I'm always like, dang, like this is amazing work. Who's the artist? And I'm
No
scrolling
face.
through. I'm trying to see who this person is, what they're like. So
Right.
even if you don't have that outgoing personality, just like being yourself can sell your art too. I've never been that outgoing artist. So that was always a struggle for me, talking about the work. And then I got to the point where people wanted to interview me.
Yeah.
Like podcasts and
That's what it was.
Instagram lives and Zooms, especially during the pandemic. I did a lot of like class lectures through Zoom, like elementary schools, colleges, like people around the country. So over time, you get better at it. Like the more you do anything, you're gonna get better at it. You get used to it. I still don't like it that much. But, and so fun fact, I don't listen to any interview. I've done, I don't know how many I've done since I started this. I haven't listened to one.
Wow.
I'll watch it on mute.
Uh-huh.
Like, I don't know, it's like my voice to myself
I
is
feel
weird.
Is it like you don't like watching yourself?
No, I don't mind watching myself.
Okay.
I don't like hearing myself.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'll watch
I'm with
it.
you on
I just
that.
have to put it on mute.
I'm with you on that. Literally, I have to watch my YouTube videos. I'm editing them, but once I post it, I'm like, it's there. I'm just gonna let it do what it do. I'm not gonna
I don't mind watching it. I just can't have the sound on.
Yeah, I feel you with that. What are some misconceptions people have about being a full-time artist?
I would say the first one, I wrote this on my Facebook. So there's this saying, when you do what you love, it's not work or it's not a job. I think that's the biggest misconception, because like I can love it and it can still be stressful at times. So like this is a job for me. It's no different from any other job, like a regular 9 to 5. Like you're gonna have your good days and your bad days. Like there's some days I don't want to draw or paint at all, but I gotta meet this deadline or I gotta turn this work in or whatever. So So that's one of them. I think people think that oh, you're an artist. Like people think that it's easy. Or you just draw and paint. You have people that reach out to you. Oh, can you do this book cover for me? Or can you do this? Like they think you can just draw on a dime. Like I got to be in the whole mindset. Like I got to be in the mood. Like the weather has to be right. Like I got to have on the right socks. Like everything has to align in order for me just to squeeze paint out the tube. But people think that it's just easy for you. Just do it. Like it don't work like that.
If only that were.
What's another misconception? So I think I might have already said this. So for artists who are like aspiring, who want to like be full time one day, I think that being an artist has become like romanticized. Like you see it in every movie, every TV show nowadays. There's always somebody who's like this artist. It's kind of like glamorized. I think people like the title more. Like, I'm an artist. I paint pictures and I got paint all over my clothes, but it's way more than that. Like I would say this is the hardest job I've ever had. Like you have to be extremely disciplined, driven, self-educated. Even if you did, like even if you have a degree and you did go to school, like it's a field that you never stop learning. And so you have some people, like they think they're the top. Like I'm the greatest artist. Like that's it. Like there's always more to learn.
How is the workflow when it comes to you making, selling, or exhibiting, doing commissions or murals? Like how does that all go together? Let me know if that makes sense. Like I'm trying to figure out.
How do I balance it? Like how do I?
Yeah, it's a job for you. So what's the order of the job that it works out? I don't know. I'm trying to make it make sense.
I think I get what you're saying, but I don't think, at least not for me, I can't speak for other artists. I don't think I have an order. That's something I'm trying to work on. So this year I wanted to try to have like a steady studio practice where I'm always in here, like even if it's just 2 hours, like I'm in here and I'm working on something. But and there are some artists who do it like a 9 to 5, like they get up 8 o'clock in the morning, they're in the studio to 5.
Yeah.
I don't think that's realistic for me. I don't think that's realistic for every artist. Especially for me, like having young kids and like they have school and stuff and having other obligations. But like for me, I don't know. I just take it like a day at a time.
Do you like schedule when you want to have a certain projects to be finished for exhibition?
No, so like normally exhibitions and art shows, they come with a hard deadline.
Okay.
And so like once I apply for something, I know that I got it, then I'll start like working towards that deadline, trying to beat it. And so like that's another thing with being a full-time artist, like, or with any entrepreneur, like nobody's like standing over you, like you got to come in on this day at this time. And you go in and clock in, like it's you. Like you have to be driven. So, looking for applications for art shows and art shows don't really pay unless somebody buys your work. But like people don't, like a lot of times people go to art shows to look at the work. They're not trying to buy nothing.
I'm always skeptical about those because I know you have to pay to get into.
Yeah, submission fees. I just saw when I was about to apply for something. I think the fee was $60.
That's not.
And then if you get in, cool. If you don't, you add a $60.
Still $60, right?
Yeah, you add a $60. So art shows help with exposure. So even though people say exposure isn't good and it doesn't pay, it does pay because it opens you up or introduces you to people who would have never known you before, especially if you're applying for shows outside of where you live. So then people get to see you. They know your name, they know your work, they follow you. Oh, I saw your work at this show. Can you do a piece for me? Or I have a business. I have a blank wall I've been wanting to do a mural on, and your work is perfect. So
right.
It does help in that way. But as far as making money, commissions, which I don't like commissions like on canvas. So I do very few commission. I'm not trying to paint your wedding or your grandma or your dog. Some artists do that and they like that. I don't like it. I don't mind mural commissions.
Yeah.
So murals, and then just selling your work. Speaking engagements is another way, like, to get paid. Like, sometimes people invite you to schools and stuff to speak or on panels. For me, I think I just usually sell my original work, which is hard to do for most people. But like, I've been able to build a brand, like a name behind myself. You know, that distinguishable voice, and it's something that people want.
Right.
Luckily and thankfully. But yeah, it's hard. Many artists spend like their whole careers trying to find that thing, like trying to find that voice. So, you know, I've been lucky enough to find it, and to be able to like hone it and build upon it, and people want it.
Okay, we're on to the last question. This
Okay.
question, I told you it wasn't a lot. It's not a lot. What is the best piece of advice you would give someone that is trying to be a full-time artist as a career?
There's a lot of advice.
There's
a bunch of advice I wish I had. One piece that I always say is to do the work. Like, don't pay attention to social media. I know, like, we're living in this time where like everybody's concerned with likes and comments and shares and all that stuff. Like, just like focus on the work. Just do the work. Like, all of that stuff will come. Another piece of advice that I got when I was doing music production, I think I was about 17. I used to read this magazine called Scratch Magazine. It was like dedicated to DJs and music producers. And so they interviewed this one producer, and he was like, before you get yourself into this business, pick up a book and learn about it. And so, like, I know you go to school, but like, there's some things in school they're not going to teach you.
Right.
So just like what you're doing now, like reaching out to artists who are doing it. You know, there's YouTube, like there's always art talks and lectures. So just like learning from those who are doing it, picking their brain. That's something that I did, something that I still do. Like a lot of established artists, like I'm always in their DMs asking for advice and like, what do you think it is, or how should I go about that? So yeah, just reading and just educating yourself from people who are actually doing it. Like, professors in schools are not always actually doing it.
Yeah.
They just teach about doing it, but they've never done it themselves. So
And
there's a difference.
Yeah, I was about to say, I just wish they put those classes in there, because I mean, if anything, that's probably a lot more important than just knowing how to draw a circle.
Yeah, and I talked to a lot of artists who went to school, and they say that like they don't actually, like, they teach you how to make art, but not how to be an artist, like a professional artist out here. And so for me, being self-taught, like, I had to learn all that stuff. Like, I just dove into it, and so like I made a lot of mistakes and stuff, but I learned a lot, and it's different. It's a different kind of career field to be in. Like, there's other types of entrepreneurs, but being a creative entrepreneur is different. It's a lot to learn. Like, I had to learn all about CVs and writing bios and statements, and they need different statements for different shows and all kind of stuff. How to approach people in galleries, or if you should approach people in galleries and museums, like how to apply for stuff. It's a lot to learn, but
What, like, resources help the most when it comes to, like, the fine print of stuff, the cover letters,
yeah.
residencies? Because I literally just learned about that term.
Oh,
recently. I didn't know what that was. I didn't know you could just go, like, basically it's like a grant, right? Kind of.
Some of them are funded, some of them are not. So like a residency is supposed to give the artist time away from like your normal floor world, work, like family. Like, you can just get away, like go to the countryside and just create. You don't even have to create. Like, you just want to do research for like an upcoming show. So it's supposed to give you that time to try new things, you know, exploring your work. Yeah, but some of them are they'll give you like a little stipend. They can be like from a few weeks to a few years. Like, some of them are like 2 or 3 years long at the longest. But yeah, residencies, fellowships, which are kind of like residencies, but you don't have to like actually be there in a location. Like I did a digital residency, not a residency, fellowship. So it was like through Zoom, me and some different people, we met up, and they basically were teaching us about social media and just like incorporating like the digital world into our art practice.
Okay.
Well, yeah, there's all kind of stuff, residencies, fellowships, like how to get into different exhibitions around the country and around the world. Like, it's a lot of stuff I know they're not going to teach you like in a university.
Yeah. But there's like there an actual place where you can find resources on that.
Oh yeah,
Like,
there's
you know, website off.
Oh yeah, people, of course.
Oh, yeah.
Other artists, but yeah, like so. There's a site I'm on called Cafe. I think it stands for Call for Artists.
Okay.
And Call for Entry. But Cafe is a good one. Like you can type in whatever you're looking for: residencies, fellowships, art shows. They have all that stuff on there. But there are a few sites like that.
Okay, I'm gonna check that out because that sounds nice to me. A free vacation and I get to make art. I know it's not a vacation.
Some of them you had to pay.
Oh, you do?
But then yeah, some of them are like fully funded.
Okay. Yeah. I just really want to say that your work is very inspiring. You're inspiring. Like you're literally the creator of all of these pieces. Like I can't give the work too much credit because you're the one that's behind it. But thank you again just for spilling like very much insight and knowledge.
I tried my best.
Yeah, no, look, you do. Okay, I'm gonna be looking back at this and pick up on some stuff.
Yeah.
So, thank you guys so much for watching, and here's the link to my previous video, Do I Need to Find an Art Style? Keep creating, and I hope to see you guys later.